Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, another delivery from eBay. Another Lionel locomotive. Now, as I always stress, I don't collect Lionel. I don't buy it unless I can get it cheap. This is a Lionel 244. Now, I picked this up for $5. So I'm really curious to see what kind of condition it's actually in. Now, the pilot is broken off and there's a hole in the boiler. I know that for a fact. So, well, pretty straightforward packing. But for $5, I bought it for the motor. This has a steel motor in it. So it's going to be interesting to see if it runs. This is also a smoker. 1960. And here it is. Alright, so it is complete, front and rear trucks. It actually has two holes in the boiler. There's a hole there, there's a hole there. How it got broken, I have no idea. And the pilot, of course, is missing. But the motor turns easily. It is a steel motor. This is actually in fair condition. Let me pull the camera off the tripod, take a look at this. So, a Lionel 244, $5 on eBay. It's going to be interesting to see if this will run. Now, it is a smoker, and it has a steel motor. So, as always, first thing I'm going to do is put a couple of drops of oil on the main gearing. Tilt this up so you can see it here. Get this in focus. There we go. All right. A couple of drops of oil up into the gears. One drop of oil on the intermediate gear. Give this a turn. I have no idea if this is going to run or not. As you can see, it's got lots of rust on it. But for $5, it's really difficult to pass up a $5 locomotive. So anyway, not much I can do on this side until I pull it out of the shell. All right, so there's not much I can do with it until we see if it's going to run. So always the interesting part. So a Lionel 244, $5 on eBay. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see if this will run. Now, I bought this just for the parts, but if I can get it running, of course it has a smoker in it. So turn the power on, let's see what happens. All right, it runs forwards and it runs backwards. Not very well, as you can see. This thing's been sitting for years, there's no doubt about that. And the rear truck is not turning at all. So it needs to be run, there's no doubt about that. So just the fact that it's running, whoops, makes it worth $5. All right, and it's beginning to smoke. It's definitely smoking, no doubt about that. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it's definitely smoking. So once this is broken loose, it looks like it's actually going to run fairly well. Rear truck is beginning to turn now. So it is absolutely filthy, as you can no doubt tell. Even the light is on. Rather incredible. $5 on eBay. Excuse me. So I've got to say it. Don't overlook the junk. All right, let's see if it'll pull a consist. Let me move the oil out of the way. And we'll bring up the 246 that got here yesterday. So there's the 246. This was $9. All right, we'll throw this on the rail and see if this will pull a consist. So a Marks or a Lionel 244. Unbelievable. $5. It's running and it's smoking. Now let's see if it'll pull a consist. And it is. Look at that. And it's smoking. So this thing's absolutely filthy. Like I said, I bought it just for the motor, for the parts. It's actually smoking fairly well. That being a relative term, of course. So a couple of drops of smoke fluid, obviously it's going to smoke. It's running better just in the minute or so that it's been running. So it's running forward and backwards. Okay, there's 50% power. So a Lionel 244 for $5. Really difficult to beat that. So this is in really, really poor condition, as you can no doubt tell. It's got holes in the boiler. It is absolutely filthy. It's been stored someplace for years, decades, it looks like. So I'll get this cleaned up, lubricate it, and take it from there. But it has a working smoker, has a working headlight, has a steel motor, and it's running and smoking. So really difficult to beat the cost. There's no doubt about that. So it's already running much better than it was just a minute ago. And that's usually what happens. These things will be sitting for years. You run them for just a minute or so, things start to break loose. The oil starts to lubricate them. The oxide gets scraped off the armature and the brushes. And as you can see, this is actually running really well. Forward and backwards. Now that's rather incredible. So again, I got to stress it. Don't overlook the junk. For $5, even in this condition, it's running. And spend a little bit of time on this. If you wanted to save it, you could. You could fill these holes. How it got broken, I have no idea. Very strange place for this to be broken. There's no doubt about that. And as you can see, it is absolutely filthy. Now this is genuine dirt. This has been stored in a shed or something like that, it looks like. Just terrible, terrible condition. One of the markers is broken off. But it's running. That's the neat thing. It's running and it's smoking. It's also pulling a consist. It's really difficult to beat that for $5. So a bit of judicious cleaning, some lubrication. This is actually going to be a really decent locomotive. What I'm going to do with it, I have no idea. I bought it for parts. When I see a Lionel cheap, that's the only time I buy them. And in this case, the 246 was $9, and it had been painted with silver paint. And as you can see, since I touched up the paint, this actually looks quite good, and it's running just absolutely splendidly. So the 244 was $5. It's running, it's smoking, and the headlight is working. So what I'm going to do with it, I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to repair it. Like I said, I bought it just for the parts. The only time I buy a Lionel is when I can get them dirt cheap. And you couldn't really ask for anything cheaper than this except for free. $5. Really difficult to beat that. And the fact that it's running. It's smoking and the headlight is working. So if nothing else, I can snag the motor out of this and put it in a nicer shell. Or I could actually spend some time on it and repair this, you could repair this relatively straightforward with some epoxy putty, and then give it a quick spray of black paint. You could virtually make the damage disappear. You could epoxy a new pilot on the front of it, but like I said, I bought it for parts. Wasn't really expecting it to run at all. Really, really amazing. And again, one of the biggest drawbacks, I think, to Lionel is the fact that they all look the same. Now, there's a 246, here's a 244, and as you see, they are virtually identical. There's really not much difference in them at all. And that's really common with all the Lionels. They all look the same. They have the same push rods, they have the same wheels, they have the same shell. They have different accessories, of course. This one has a forward reverse switch here. This one has a forward reverse switch there. This one's a smoker, but other than that, the general layout and design of all Lionels is virtually identical. Bigger or smaller, yes, but they're all the same, and that's one of the drawbacks, I think, to Lionel. They just put different numbers on them, put a different accessory in it, a smoker or headlight or whatever, and call it a different locomotive, but it sure isn't. I mean, as you see, the 246 and the 244 are basically identical. So the 244 is 1960. So this thing is 70 years old, in dreadful condition. Pilot's been broken off. It is absolutely filthy. There's 2 holes in the boiler, but it is running forward and backwards. It's smoking, and the light is working. Really difficult to beat that. So if nothing else, I can look around for another shell, drop this motor in that shell. I'm really reluctant to do anything with the motor as far as using it for parts because it's running absolutely perfectly. It needs to be cleaned and lubed, but as you can see, there's no doubt about it was worth $5. There's no doubt about that at all. The front truck is worth that much. And as you can see, that's running better. So in the next 10 minutes, this is probably going to be running quite well. So just wanted to do a quick unboxing. Lionel 244, $5 on eBay. How do you beat that? I mean, even in this condition, this thing is just absolutely trashed. But it has a good motor, it has a good smoker, it has a headlight, all the parts. The body itself, of course, is in dreadful condition, and it's absolutely filthy. But it's running. That's the point. So, as I always stress, don't overlook the junk. $5 on eBay. Really difficult to beat that. Anyway, just want to do a quick video unboxing it and had no idea what to expect. Like I said, I bought it just for parts. Well, obviously it's not going to wind up as parts because it's running too well. I don't tear a good running motor apart. But in this case, like I said, I bought it strictly for parts. I mean, how do you pass up $5 for a Lionel locomotive that smokes? Of course, I didn't think it was going to run at all. But I looked it up. The 244 is a smoker. It is smoking. Runs forward and reverse. A little bit of cleanup and a bit of repair. This could actually be a nice locomotive. Anyway, I just wanted to do a unboxing video. $5 on eBay. How do you beat that? You just can't. And as I stress, you know, it just reinforces everything I said. Don't overlook the junk. $5 and it's running. Not only is it running, the headlight works and it's smoking. Really difficult to beat that combination. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, I just want to do a quick unboxing video on this. This got here a couple hours ago. Just now got around to opening it, and as you see, that is running just absolutely perfectly. A few drops of smoke fluid, some judicious tweaking, lubing, tuning, lots of cleaning. This would be actually a good running locomotive. And still has wisps of smoke coming out of it. Now this thing's been sitting for years. There's no doubt about that. It's been sitting for decades. So is it perfect? Nope, sure isn't. It's beat to death. The thing is, it's running, it has a working headlight, and it's smoking. Really difficult to beat that, especially for $5. So I just want to do a quick video. I'll do a follow-up on this once I get it cleaned up. We'll take it from there. But really pleased the fact that it's running. So it's not going to wind up as parts. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it is running. It's actually running quite well. So I just want to do a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.